Yeah,
Maybe we can just start with the stuff that I have a bit more knowledge on as well, with the construction stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
we obviously worked together a long time ago,
Yes.
and you've been on site for what is it? It's like maybe 10 years now, just
Since
under, just over.
2013 started as labor.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So a
Yeah.
decade of experience under your belt.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? And how's work going?
Yeah, it's good. Still in construction as a site supervisor. Currently working for a building company in Sydney, Northern Beaches. I am working with a school infrastructure, so New South Wales. We are currently building a brand new school, so it's very exciting. I did Chatswood High School and Chatswood Primary, so I was pretty. It was good. It was felt very rewarding actually building a school compared to building residential for past 10 years. So building a school was something different codes and practices. So yeah, it was great. So yeah, I'm there now working full time. Yeah, site supervisor.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And yeah, obviously, when we were together, we are doing a lot of resi. What do you see as what have you sort of learned as the main differences between doing a school project and a resi?
Well, this school in particular was a live school, so there was a lot of handovers, a lot of defect periods. So because it was done in stages, it was over like 6, 7 stages. So pretty much every long weekend, the kids would go on holidays. And in that time, in that long weekend, would give us 2 to 3 weeks to move hoardings around, to complete defects, to have SI schools infrastructure come out, and the client do their own defects. So get it all handed over, get all the hoardings moved around, and hand over that section ready for the kids to come back. So the students. So that was a one big thing. Whereas with Resi would just be one big defect period where the owners would move in, and then you'd still be getting chased up for defects for the next 5 years. So defects will
Yeah,
never
yeah.
end. But in
Yep.
that case, yeah, it was. Now that I look at it, it was a lot easier building Resi. And the school was because it's school, especially primary school. There was a lot more regulations and codes we had to
Yeah.
follow in
Yeah.
accordance to a primary or a high school. So it will change and vary depending which school.
Right. So what about having like the state as your client? What's that like?
They were good. The only thing is that we weren't directly working with them, so we'd have to go
Right.
through the client. So the client would be the communication between us and SI. So we really couldn't even be able to talk to them. But every time they came down to the site, they're always cooperating. They're always they're pretty much on our side. It was kind of weird. So they were pretty friendly. But then when you're not looking, they'll jab you, quick one in the back. So they'll right there. They'll
Yeah.
have to say like a silent assassin. They'll say what they have to say, and then they'll write their own little notes or remarks. So,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
general, no, it was great. I enjoyed it. So yeah, school definitely. I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So you're working as a site supervisor on like school infrastructure projects. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I know they can be schools are probably one of the most complex building typologies, and you got to build so many different types of spaces
That's right.
in one building, like I don't know, library, sports hall,
That's
classrooms,
right. Yeah.
outdoor space, all that stuff. But yeah, so that's what you're doing now. What sort of influences do you remember having that got you into construction in the first place when you were younger?
When I was younger, I'm pretty sure I always enjoyed building with Lego. And then I would go underneath my grandpa's house, like the attic, and there'll be like offcuts of timber and wood, plywood, and I'll just go and start making boxes or whatever, creating something out of timber, nails, and hammer. So I just building, and I did like something that was hands on at first. And since we're on that topic, I wish if I could not wish, but it would have been nice if I could go back and do the carpentry course. So I can say
Right.
at least I had a trade under my belt. But along the way, as labor leading hand, I did do a lot of hands-on concreting footings, tying our own Rio, steel cages, doing bits of formwork, and temporary concrete work. So in that way, I did still learn the fundamentals of construction, but I didn't learn the beauty of a trade. And carpentry would have been a good entry into the construction game. So if you are a young person who would like to join and do construction, I recommend it's just 3 years, do your carpentry or TAFE course, and then you can move into a foreman supervisor role with that knowledge and experience and qualification at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, that's it's really interesting because like I know and still to this day the builders that you were working with when you were starting your career. I don't know if they'd care if I said their names, but they've been probably the best builders I've ever seen in my life, like across a number of different companies and number of different sites.
Definitely.
So I know that being said, that you've probably learnt a lot of skills that most people just wouldn't, like most site guys just wouldn't have the opportunity to learn. So it's interesting that you're saying, you wish you got this qualification, but I know that like you could build almost anything. If anyone asked you a question, you'd understand
Yeah,
how to do formwork,
that's
waterproofing,
right.
block laying, concrete pours, whatever it is.
That's
So
right.
yeah, that's interesting. So
And
maybe
yeah,
that's go.
and also if you're gonna delegate, if you're gonna like set the works out to your laborers, it's good to know how long that work would take and that you've been in those shoes and you've done that work before. So you know what to expect, how long to expect it will take, and the quality you want in return. So look, I'm glad if I could go back now, I'm glad I did learn the harder way. And had all that from that man you're talking about. I learned a lot from him. It was tough, but at the end of the day, you just gotta just do the job, and want to do it and want to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy what you guys do. I've obviously always had the luxury of going to the office whenever it gets too hot on site.
yeah,
But yeah, I remember. So obviously, we're sort of similar in our in the times that we've been working. I remember that like those initial sites, which were the first sites I had worked on. Basic things like people getting to site at 7 and leaving at 5. Right? I
yeah,
thought that was the minimum expectation. And
yeah.
then when I left there and went to and worked with, I don't know, even like John Holland, even like some of the tier 1 companies, just getting people to get to site on time was like a huge deal. Like even the site managers who were running the site wouldn't get there at 7, and you're
That's
like, well,
it.
how the hell are all the workers going to come as well? So
Yeah,
I feel
definitely.
that the initial period was a really high standard of like building and quality of site, like
Yeah.
running a site, which is interesting. I don't know, what do you think about that? How have you seen, as you've moved companies and stuff, what differences have you noticed?
Oh, just differences in there'll be obviously everywhere would be have their own way of starting the day or in terms of the planning and operation meetings. Like usually would have a pre-start 7 a.m. site pre-start weekly toolboxes. Every day would have a coordination planning meeting around 1:30 2 p.m. So we'll get a supervisor from every trade to sit down with the supervisors and we'll just go over the works, deliveries, crane activities, and what works are coming up the next following day. So there's no surprises to the workers or if there's any access changes, any high risk works to be undertaken, if there's a concrete pour, a crane setup, whatever it is. So there'll always be that communication with the subcontractors. Other than
Yep.
that, it's pretty much the same everywhere you go. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own way of building, of course. Sorry, what else?
Yeah. Well, maybe we can talk about management. So,
Yeah,
one of the things I noticed, so what I always thought a contractor was like someone who understands construction, right? And then when I went to a tier 2 or a tier 1 contractor, like working for a builder, I realized that a lot of the staff they were hiring on site were either sort of the original type of builder where they could fix problems, they had like knowledge over every trade, so they could tell trades how to work, whether they're doing the right or wrong thing. And then there was a second type, which was like a management person who was also a site supervisor, but they didn't understand anything about construction. So
Yeah.
if the tiler was tiling upside down or doing something wrong, they would never go and be like, hey, like you've stuffed this up, like start again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you experienced that as well? Do you
Yeah.
sort of see like the level of skill?
Yeah, definitely. So these days, most other foremans I'd meet, they'll just be either fresh out of university with that degree, or they'll come from a project management course or something, somewhat like that. And to be out on site, some of them can't even set up a laser to check levels. That's just
Yeah.
one simple thing to do. So a lot of just checking on the subby, and also making them accountable, making them do the work. So you make sure that they stay on top of it. They do their own checks, their own ITPs, and then you go out, sign off that. So I guess just always checking on them, checking on the subby, measurements, levels, and making sure the work is ready for them. So they want to get in and get out as quick as they can. So you need, as a good supervisor, you need to have that work area ready for them, and organize, delegate with the other trades, and coordinate who comes in next, and the works to just flow and follow. Obviously, there'll be the design issues and holdups with the office, but yeah, as you would know, there's always or from the client there'll be variations. And then when you go back to the subcontractor, then they need a site instruction for that vary. So there's always that back and forth, and there'll be that delay on site. But yeah, a lot of it as well, actually, now that I mentioned, is it's all about site instructions. The subby wants to get
Right.
paid for it. There's no love jobs, or as much as you're friends with them or whatever, um, they're going to want that vary and make sure it's in writing. So we have a software called Aconex, and everything will go through that. And yeah, they'll just you just need everything in writing, even to cover yourself. In terms of safety, safety is a very big thing as well. Of course, with T2 companies, we use an app called a software called Hammertech. So we would have to do safety monitoring, SUMS monitoring, just a proper work method of how the works are going to be undertaken. And permits is a big thing. So yeah, so making sure everything's logged and ticked off with the right certificates prior to works commencing. Yeah.
Yep. And then, so how much time do you reckon you spend outside of like your site hours planning, your next day, your next week, for your trades, or do you just do it all when you're at site?
Well, yeah, we have such a long day on site, so usually most subcontractors will knock off, if they're not jib rockers, they'll knock off around 3:30. So after that 3:30, 4 o'clock time, I'll do my own planning and scheduling for the following day, have my pre-starts ready, and the work's ready for the next day. So I won't leave till that's all sorted. Right now I'm in excavation period, and it's pretty wet, so we have a lot of time on our hands. So yeah, usually after 3:30, I'll do my planning for the following day.
Yeah,
I'll try and keep all my work at work, right? So obviously after work, time to switch off as much as you can if you're not dreaming about the job. Just try to switch off it and do your own thing, and then start again the next day. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I know that can be pretty hard, other than sort of just getting used to doing that. I remember you're probably the same. Like, I'd go home and I'd dream about what we were doing the next day and the work that needs to be done. You're there.
Definitely.
It's like all you can think about, for that period that it's happening. Do you have any sort of tips for like how people can like compartmentalize and like take their mind off things, take their mind off work when they come home?
Definitely. Sign up to a gym. Just go straight to the gym. Get the headphones in if you need them. And yeah, it's a good way of switching off. just pushing and pulling weight. If not, running, swimming, cycling, anything that you're doing. I'm sure people, I've never tried it, meditation, but I've never done that. I'll do a moving meditation. It's called running. So I
Yeah.
just like to, switch off in that way. So you need your time alone, especially in construction. It is a tough, it's tough sometimes. Some days you have your easy days, your hard days, but at the end of the day, it is pretty rewarding and it does keep you busy. So if you can switch off, it will be good. But yeah, but you're always going to be thinking of the job, especially if it's when it's raining and you wake up. Then you got to start replanning and pushing your time plan forward. And yeah, more delays. So
Yeah. No, it's actual work. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think a lot of people who haven't been on site, like even myself, I'm working in the architecture field. It's like I haven't done the days that you guys do, and it can be very easy to. And I know you probably experience this every day. It's like people just come in from the office. They're like, "Why isn't this done? Why did you
yeah,
do this like this?" And like they don't realize like the amount of just effort and energy that like goes into building a building. Like it's very intense, especially in Sydney. Like the time cost implications. If you're building a school, it's like the government has all these plans. Like it's very, very intense. But that's a really good segue. So I know I haven't kept up with it to the T, but I know you're in a bodybuilding competition quite recently.
yes,
Maybe you can talk about your sort of experience with the comp and like how we'll sort of get into like the work-life balance things, which is some of the things I'm really interested to talk to you about, because I feel you're one of the like only people, one of the very few people I know that can, as I was saying before, fit in an enormous amount of things in a single day consistently, which is it's awesome. It's very impressive. So yeah, maybe you should just start with the comp.
Yeah, sure. So at the beginning of the year, we're actually early December 2023. I started my competition prep. So this was the second time. I did one last year in 2023. That was a 20-week prep. And I did my second one this year, starting pretty much just before Christmas. So from Christmas, New Year's, christenings, family events, all those things, I would have my own little meals there in Kapue. I would still join the family and, of course, family first, sit with them, have lunch with them, but my portions and everything was weighed, measured, and cooked by myself for 24 weeks. So that prep went from December to May. So it was a long prep. I did 3 competitions back to back, so 3 fortnights. So it was 3 competitions in 1 month. It was pretty intense. Most people do 1, max 2, but I was pushing for that 3 because I wasn't happy with the outcomes from the first 2. I wasn't content, so I wanted to do it for myself and just come in a bit stronger and more competitive. But yeah, it was great. It is tough and it's not for everyone doing a competition prep, especially for that long. But doing it now for the second time was a lot easier than the first time. For one, it wasn't winter. 2, I knew what was to come after and what to expect. Like the first time I was craving all these foods and I couldn't wait to have them. And then when I had them, I was like, oh, it's not that great. Like it's over now. And you know what I mean? So this time I was like, the food's always going to be there. I was a lot more patient as well. I was enjoying the process a lot more. And yeah, especially if you're living at home with family, it does impact and reflect what you do on them. So it was a lot easier this time, and everyone was supportive. My friends, they'll obviously go to dinner. I would meet them at dinner. I wouldn't eat. I would go for a Coke Zero or a tea or something. But if they understand that they'll support you and be there for you. So it was good in that sense. I had all the support I needed. And yeah, with work and construction, balancing it all, I'll pretty much, there's like an app called MyFitnessPal. So you have to lodge all your foods, and it would tell you all your macronutrients. for that day. So I would not go to bed until all my meals and my supplements were prepped for the following day. So when I'd wake up, I'd cook my egg whites, pack my lunchbox, and be out the door. So it is long days in the kitchen. Then you got to go to the gym. And in the last few weeks, your body is very tired, and there's pretty much no energy. So, and it was cold. So it was tough, but it was rewarding. And I kept telling myself, I want to do this. Like no one's forcing me to do this. So it is a lot harder working in construction outdoors, plus doing over 10,000 steps on site. You know, sitting down in the office or working from home. But it was good, and I'll do it again. So I enjoyed it.
And working,
yeah.
sorry, and working Saturdays.
Saturdays we're actually flexible, so we do a roster
Okay.
system. So it's
Yeah,
one
right,
in
man.
two, 1 in 2, or 1 in 3. So it did help a lot. I used to do it every Saturday, and now it's like 1 every 2 or 1 every 3. So I do really appreciate that. It does help a lot. You get your weekends back, because you know how it is working. I'm not sure if you work Saturdays, but working Saturdays,
sometimes.
you feel like you're being robbed. Like you only have 1 day weekend. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that is a very big thing as well for the mind, physically, mentally. You just can have a proper 2 days rest. So it's good.
Yeah. I was
And
lucky. I had a really good. Yeah, good.
with these RDOs, we also get extra long weekends. So that's
Right,
always a bonus.
rostered days off.
Roster
Yeah,
days
the
off. That's
RDOs
it. That's
are
it.
awesome. Yeah, no, I was lucky. I had a really good manager, and he'd let me like study in the office on Saturday. So I was technically working, but I
Nice.
wasn't doing anything.
You were there. You were
But yeah,
present.
so
Yeah.
I was in case an emergency happened.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty like a pretty intense experience. So look, this is how I'm looking at it. It's like you're waking up 4 a.m. You're working on site. You know, what is it, 10 hours a day? Then you're also not buying food while you're at work. You've prepared all your food that you're going to be eating for the day. Then you're
Yeah.
going home. You're going to the gym. Like, what's sort of the period after work look like? Like, what's
Yeah.
the cycle you're going through?
Cycle, yeah. So it's just wake up, breakfast, go to work, work after work, straight to the gym, and then I'll after the gym come home, dinner, then prep food, and straight into bed. So I never watch TV. I'm never in front of the TV. If I have any free time, I'll just be watching probably some YouTube videos or whatever, which I really do. And then I'll pretty much just cook and sleep. Focus, just right now, just focusing on my family, myself, training, and work. So if I did have a girlfriend, I think all that would be out the window. So
Right.
so staying single has helped a lot as well. So
Right.
I will, cause every person I speak to, they say, "Oh, wait till you get married, wait till you have kids. You're never going to be able to do this." But I beg to differ. I reckon everything is with a proper plan. You know what I mean? You can make it work. If you you could train before work. You can always do things differently. So to adapt. So we'll get there. We'll do another one of these, and we'll listen to this when I'm married with kids. See where I got. So
Yeah, definitely. That'd be so good. Yeah, so like obviously motivation here is a really important one. Look, outside of people, who've got like chronic injuries and like physically can't do certain things.
Yeah.
What, like, maybe you can talk a little bit about motivation. Like you were saying before, you're telling yourself, you're the one who wants to do this. Like no one's forcing you to do it.
Yeah.
What sort of mental battles you going through in these types of times? Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just like smooth sailing.
No, well, look, of course, every day has its good days, bad days, but the main thing is probably just cravings. So if you can control your foods emotionally, like that food will always be there. Even right now, after the competition, it's a very not dangerous, but it's a very risky time for your body. It's like a sponge. So whatever you eat, it's very easy to put on weight right now. And then when you
Right.
mentally, you've been seeing yourself so lean and ripped for so long, and as soon as you start putting a bit of normal body fat on, to someone else's eye, you look normal, but to your eye, you think you're not. That's the only negative impact with bodybuilding. That's
Yeah.
what happened the first time. For a week after my competition, I flew out to Dubai, Europe, and then Armenia. So for 4 weeks, it was just no calorie tracking, and I put on a fair bit of weight, like 12 kilos in a few weeks. So that was pretty hard, and I told myself I'll never go back to that again. If I ever compete again, I'll do a proper reverse diet, which I'm doing now. So it's been 6 weeks now, and everything. If I see like a piece of apple or chocolate, I keep telling myself I can eat it. It's okay to eat it, but you gotta eat it irresponsibly. I'm still tracking all my foods like during the week. But then again, I'll enjoy on weekends. I'll treat myself to an acai bowl or an ice cream gelato, whatever it is. You need to have untracked meals or like a reward for if you want to. Yeah, you're not in a competition prep anymore. You got to really just look at it as like you got to try to be normal again, and just
Right.
enjoy life. So look, for someone that is trying to lose weight or to change their habits. I believe everything in moderation. If you can do healthy during the week, or if you're a drinker, if you can not drink during the week and treat yourself on the weekends, and enjoy yourself, because of course everything in life, just in with balance, and you still got to enjoy it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, that's super interesting.
Mm.
So you're like, it's it's not things aren't out of bounds. It's like I could eat this,
yeah.
but then what sort of the next steps is like, well, it doesn't sort of align with my current goals, or like if I eat this, it means that I can't eat something else. Like what's sort of the process there, the thinking process?
Well, my way of looking at it is if I'm good during the week, I can account for that on the weekend. So it's called like a
Ah,
calorie
yeah,
bank, like a calorie bank.
yeah.
So you got
You're pushing
some
it
bank.
down the road.
That's right. You got some calories
Yeah,
banked up for you to for you to eat later on in the week. But only if you're good during the week. If you're not, it's not too late. You can. If you have a bad day, just go back on track and just be good. But you can't just always be in like a competition prep 7 days a week. It's not healthy. Mentally, it's not good for your testosterone levels either. You can't always be in such a low fat deficit. The body needs fat cholesterol to function and to obviously stay strong, especially during winter. So, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, maybe I think one thing that would be really good to get your perspective on as well. I know you touched on it earlier when you were talking about getting carpentry qualification. Um, and you might get this as well. I feel that there's a lot of young people who come to me in the community, and they ask me, they're like, "Look, Dre, I want to become a plumber. I want to become a, I don't know, flooring contractor," like just
Yeah.
random stuff. You're not sure
Mm.
why they want to do that, but they're like, what's sort of the best way to move through? What qualifications? Should I go to university? Should I do a construction management course? Who should I work for? Developer, builder, or should you be a project manager for a subcontractor, something like that? If you had to sort of give your experience in a like advice to someone who wants to go into construction, they haven't done anything before, what advice would you give them?
Or first, it be on the individual if he wants to do a project based or a site based. But I'll definitely warn them that construction is a tough industry. It is long hours. It's hard, mentally, physically draining. But if you can balance it and if you want to do it, go ahead. For starters, if you wanted to get into hands-on on site, definitely recommend you doing a carpentry course. At first, probably won't be fun. You'll be put on some resi job, but if you can get with these big companies, you'll also still be pushing a broom. But at first, that's how it's always going to be. So You always got to start somewhere, even if you're laboring. I always started as a laborer. There's nothing wrong with that. You will learn a lot on site. You will learn a lot more on site than you would in the office. Sorry, than you will in the classroom. I remember when I did my TAFE course, the first 2 years doing cert for diploma, I just couldn't get my head around like building terminology, like what a cavity is or what this is, or you know what I mean. And when you go on site and you see it with your eyes, you definitely get more experience and knowledge, and you can put one and two together. And what you learn on paper, you can put it, and it will make more sense when you actually see it and when you do the work. If you do want to work in office space, definitely get a cadetship. It is 4 years, and you'll do 1 year of each topic. But yeah, people could start off as a structural engineer and become a contract administrator. So it does branch to a lot of different areas. So if you never get into project management, or say as an engineer, or like yourself, an architect. So it does have a lot of branches for you to move into when you finish your cadetship. So there are those options there. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's what you want to do. If you want to be in the office or you want to be on site.
Yeah.
But
No, I
what I
think
say
that's
is
a pretty good summary.
yeah,
Yeah.
like stick to it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna start it, try and stick with it. Obviously, you might not like it at first, but hang in there because it's a good industry. It's rewarding. It's just tough. It's hard.
Yeah, right. No, I think in Australia especially, it's one of those industries that for a number of reasons, it's always going to be really, chock a block. Like I feel you might feel this way as well. I feel like there's always work. There's always projects, and COVID was a really good example of how even during one of the worst economic periods, the one thing that like basically didn't stop was construction. So,
Definitely, yeah.
you're in Sydney, you're in New South Wales, obviously. In Victoria, there was like a 2 week stop in the whole of that, year and a half or 2 year
Yeah.
period. So that's another consideration, I think. No, I think it's really well summarized. Do
Yeah.
you are you happy? You've sort of gone down the construction route. And what sort of perks do you feel you get? Like, just as an example, like you're like, if you post on Instagram, I've seen you post on Instagram, you've like rebuilt your deck in the backyard, or like you've done all these like home projects. I feel
Yeah.
that's a pretty good perk to have, where you can like literally build your own house. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool skill.
Yeah, look, with construction, it's taught me a lot more than just skills. Obviously, it changes who you are today. Being organized, I'm pretty like not fussy, but I like everything planned and everything. Like even my life, when I look at it as like my job, like the way I look at my life. So, it has taught me those values of being clean, tidy. Like if I see a piece of rubbish or something, like pick it up, or like it's just whatever. I don't know, like your car or with your meals, everything's got to be planned and organized. When I'm gonna go to the shops or whatever it is. So definitely has taught me those values as well. Waking up early, and yeah, in terms of physical skills, definitely. Being able to, I built when we did go into lockdown. I actually had time to build something. So mum was always asking me, Chris, when are you going to do the deck? When are you going to do the deck? So you know what? I can finally do it now. So we got the materials, built it by myself. Took me a week. And the other week we had off, I actually built an outdoor gym. So I've
Right.
got some poles, some scaffold posts, some buckets of concrete, made some weights, chin up pulls, dips. So it was pretty interesting. So that was also fun to do as well. So yeah, it does teach you those hands-on skills, definitely. And I have helped my friends with concreting works and other stuff that they need help with. So it's always good to know. But yeah, a carpentry course would have been good. But yeah, what I know now is enough to get me by. It's good.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, man, that's it's been pretty insightful convo. Thanks for sharing your sort of your processes, your way of looking at things and thinking. I think for people who want to, be able, not just like specifically to construction or fitness, but people who want to, you know, sort of organize their lives in a positive way and basically get you know, a hell of a lot of outcomes, positive outcomes from their lives. I think you know, just having known you obviously and following you on socials and stuff, I can sort of see you're always doing something and always building, you know, like growth oriented type thing. So I think it's a really good example, and that's why I wanted to get you on the interview as well. So thanks for joining, giving up your valuable time,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, if there's anything you want to say before we close up.
No, thank you, Mark, for having me. Of course, I still remember the days you used to help me tutoring as well. I wanted to bring that up. So Mark did used to tutor me for my HSC. So yeah, and we've had times on the basketball court together, going 1-on-1. So we've shared a few moments, and then obviously worked together. So it's been great having to do this with you. Appreciate your time. And yeah, hopefully see you back in Sydney
Yeah, soon, definitely.
soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Sounds good. No worries. Thanks, Mark.